Hey y'all, this is Ebony again. Um, Unfortunately, I'm coming to you from my restroom because it's the only place that I can evade my kids for a little while. Um, in our readings this week, we learned kind of that not everything can be mapped or should be mapped. My first thought when I opened up story maps was to map a story that I read with my students. Um, while I feel that that's valuable in like night, for example, because that's the one I did my last project on, just to show like, oh, okay, this concentration camp wasn't in Germany like people would assume. It, I don't know, just for me, it kind of fell flat because I feel like if I just do it based on a story's location, I'm kind of missing the why. Like, why is that important? And I guess that's like, that leaves room for conversation. But I wanted to go a different direction with this project. So I decided to think of things that we do in my class already. And we usually start off with them doing narrative writing. Um, and it never fails. Every time I tell my kids that I attended the high school that I'm working at, they always ask me why I came back. And so I decided to kind of start a narrative that kind of maps where I went and then maps me coming back. Um, but just to put an emphasis on like my personal story so that my kids can go back and like, oh yeah, I did do stuff. I did move here and there. And then my story is also very similar to a lot of the students that we have at J right now. Um, so I'll show you my project. I'm not too sure how exactly I would implement this in the narrative unit. I think it would have to be something very specific where my kids are thinking of places that they were at that helped shape who they were. So that's still a little sketchy, but this is what I came up with. So it's Mrs. Thina Heddle's Journey Back Home. So when, I'm just going to click it, but when I was going through this in high school, every little inconvenience seems like it's the end of the world, and I feel like it's still the same with our kids today. So I added pictures of places that were like meaningful in my story, in my narrative, that I would probably write more clear at a later time, but this is good for like brainstorming. So I started here at this house. If they know the street, which most of my kids will because they were from Rainbow Hills, um, they automatically like, oh my God, Miss, you really did live really close, and I still do. Um, so this is my young, rebellious, and relentless. I ended up getting kicked out of this house by my parents, which was funny because it's not even their house. It was my grandma's house. So it was kind of, at the time I didn't realize that, but now that I'm older, I'm like, yeah, you kicked me out of a house and it wasn't even your house to kick me out of. But then I went on. We talked about, and we talk about this every year. Me being homeless, I had to sleep outside of the band hall my first night. And then the janitor that would show up, which I was able to work with him for a few years before he retired, um, he would open the doors early for me so that I could get in and shower and do what I had to do, which still impacts me today, right? So then I go on. I couch surfed essentially. Once my friends figured out what was going on, they talked to their parents. Their parents kind of let me stay for a little bit. And then I started getting calls from family. So I moved in with my tia, and it just so happened that she was just trying to use me as leverage to kind of connect with my mom. And that in itself is a story that I do not want to get into right now. But if you want to know about it, just let me know and I'll tell you. But yeah, I put this image there because it was like they're pretending like they're caring for you, but they actually have an ulterior motive. Um, so then I keep going, and I got my own apartment. I saved enough money. My apartment was in walking distance from my high school and to work. So I got myself in there. I put this video, which I wasn't even sure if you could put a video, but you can. I put this video because it was kind of like my anthem at the time. Um, my apartment had absolutely no furniture in it because I was so broke. I was a waitress at Cracker Barrel. So I put empty apartment because it just like takes me back to that time and like the stuff I was going through and what I was feeling. Um, but it was just fun to like put a video in there because I can kind of show them and like put them there like where I was at that point. So then I go on, I break my lease, and I end up going to school at UT Austin, which is where my dad was like, well, good luck going without us. And I was super determined and I went by myself. My parents did help me get there. And I think that was their first like step towards reconciliation with me. And it was, text here, phone call there, but it never went back to normal. But being at UT, I kind of broke free of everything, right? And everyone that was around me. And I was able to surround myself with different people and different perspectives. And I feel like that in itself helped me become the person that I am today. So I ended up coming back home. This house was my parents' house. They were actually able to get a house, which is not something that they were able to do when I was in the house. And I still don't really understand it, but it is what it is. I was already married when we came back. We lived in that top window. Me and my husband lived in that room for a little while before we got into our apartments. And it was just a place that it wasn't really home to me, but it was to them. And I was able to take up some of that space. So then after that, I should say um, enrolled for my master's degree at Tamusa. That alone was a learning experience for me. It was hard because I had kids. I was still working. I was, doing all this stuff like we're doing now. Um, and it wasn't until even after this that I was teaching at the high school that I'm at. So I kind of circle back around um, to the high school just so that they know, like, even though I was, I went through all of these trials, these personal things that even sometimes, unfortunately, my kids have to go through, they're able to kind of see my perspective. And yeah, I'm here and I'm not a student, I'm making money now. Um, and kind of give them a little scenario as to like who I am and where I come from. But yeah, that was my project. I would like some feedback. I'm not too sure exactly how I would implement this with my students, but I think it is a great visual for them. At least getting to like um I'm not getting to where they can write these narratives. So each of the little spaces has like a little paragraph. Of course that would have to be like touched up and added to. Um, but I don't know if it would be beneficial to like start here and then move somewhere else, or have them write something and then move it to a presentation like this. But anyways, yeah. Thanks guys.